Hi folks, Simon here, welcome back to the channel. Now, one of the awesome features that is in the Final Fantasy VII New Threat 2.0 mod that you won't find in the original game is the source point upgrade system. And this is a system that you unlock shortly after defeating the first incarnation of Genova. That's the version on the cargo boat. Now, the source point system is effectively another means of character advancement, and of course this is a role-playing game, so the more character advancement you have, as long as it's fairly well implemented, then the more fun you're going to have because you get to power up your party even more. And that's especially going to be important in the new threat mod, since bosses are retuned, and having these extra stats is going to help out big time. But you don't just boost stats for the sake of boosting stats here. You do actually get to make choices with how those stats are boosted in terms of which of them are boosted more than others. So you'll first get a message after defeating the aforementioned boss saying the source point system is upgraded, and that means you can next access it from the next save point that you come across. For me, I accessed it from the save point that was added in Costa del Sol. And when you first choose the upgrade source point system from the save point, you're going to be greeted by a familiar friendly face. This is Mr. Smile, and I'll tell you, I'm never going to be able to look at this guy again the same way now that I know he's going to be referred to as Mr. Smile. That cheesy grin, man, I can't get over it. I never noticed it before. Anyway, Mr. Smile is going to help us on our way here to just boosting our character stats, and he's going to allow us to do this 4 times throughout the adventure. Now, because this is the first time we've unlocked the system, we only have access to rank 1 of the upgrade path. Now, this is available to all of our party members. We can go through them one by one, but we'll have to wait until later to continue on upgrading. We can do so 4 times in total for each party member, except for Aerith, who only has 2 ranks available to her. But subsequent ranks will be unlocked automatically as we defeat certain story bosses. Now, once you've selected the character you want to upgrade, you're going to be given a path that you can select. So, for example, for Cloud here, we could select the ex-soldier, mercenary, mechanoid, duelist, or commando paths, and they will each give us a bunch of sources to provide those specific stats that we can see on screen. Now, I said there's 4 ranks in total. What you're looking at is for rank 1. When you unlock rank 2 and 3 and 4, you'll be given the same choices, but you don't have to pick the same choice that you picked before. You can do, so you might want to go ex-soldier each time, and you'll get those specific stat boosts 4 times in a row, or you can mix and match depending on, what direction you want to take that party member in. Now, a brief note for those of you that are coming from an earlier version of the new threat mod, perhaps 1.5, in version 2.0, the system has changed a little bit. Before, it would be the case, for example, that each source would give 5 points in a stat, whereas now it has reverted back to how it is in the original game, and each source will now only provide 1 stat. But you might notice that the actual stat boosts that you get in total are about the same, even though they've been rebalanced. Right, so once you've gone ahead and selected the path you want to choose for that particular rank, you're going to have the required number of sources deposited into your inventory that you can then feed to that specific character, and that specific character only. Now, this is the one time you really need to pay attention, because once you've selected that you want to do an upgrade, you don't have to select an upgrade, by the way, the moment you first see a save point after it becomes available. You can go through the game a little bit and just do it whenever you want to, but once you've selected that you are going to upgrade and those sources are deposited into your inventory, you have to use them there and then. If you do not, then as far as I know, those sources will be lost forever. So if you don't want to upgrade your party members for whatever reason when the system first becomes available, you don't have to. But once you've chosen to do so, and you then have access to the sources, you need to do so, or you will lose them. Now, as always, when it comes to making choices like this, you do sort of get the fear that you might be making the wrong choice. But especially if you're playing on normal modes, I don't really think there is a wrong choice. You could probably, go through the entire game, not pick any of these upgrades, and still defeat all the bosses and what have you and get through to the end. So this is more of a bonus than anything else. So don't stress too much about which option you should take, as long as I think you've got a general understanding as to what direction you want to take your specific characters into. If you want a character dedicated to stealing, then perhaps you'll want to give them more of the luck stat. If you want a character such as Cloud, for example, that's going to be more melee oriented, then you're probably going to want to go for those higher strength stats. Now, once you've finished upgrading your first party member, you can go through the list and upgrade all of them until the current rank that you're working with is completed. It might take a little bit of time. Obviously, this is a mod feature. There is no in-game interface for upgrading stats. If this was an original game feature, you'd probably select one of these options and bang, you know, those stats would be added without having to go to the inventory and using sources. But it's a very ingenious way of using an original game system, that is the source system as it existed, and changing it around to make it a little bit more fun, I guess, a little bit more choicey for the player, and hopefully, you know, you guys will enjoy this. I'm looking forward to getting deeper into it as we go on through our playthrough. But if you guys are still not familiar with the new threat mod, then I would highly encourage that you do check it out. If you are familiar with the original Final Fantasy VII, it is, what you've seen today is just the tip of the iceberg, really. It is a complete overhaul and rebalancing of the in-game systems, and there's just so many surprises there. It's just freshened up Final Fantasy VII for me in a way that I never thought was possible. So yeah, I'd highly encourage you guys to check it out if you haven't already, and big thanks to those involved in making it, especially to Sega Chief. Anyway, folks, that's it for me for today. So if you have any comments or questions about the new Threat 2.0 mod, please do put those down in the comments section, and either myself or I'm sure somebody else will address those for you. But apart from that, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time for more Final Fantasy VII New Threat 2.0. Take care.